Welcome to a world where every secret, betrayal, and shocking twist comes to life. Here, loyalty is tested, facades crumble, and hidden motives are exposed in ways you won't see coming. From husbands plotting behind closed doors to family secrets that shake the foundation of trust, every story dives deep into raw emotions, cunning strategies, and the intense drama that keeps everyone on edge. Witness the clever twists that turn tables on deceitful spouses, the courtroom showdowns that reveal greed and manipulation, and the quiet patience that turns revenge into an unforgettable lesson. Each tale is more than just a story. It's a journey through betrayal, suspense, and the ultimate pursuit of justice, leaving hearts racing and jaws dropping. Hit play, stay for the revelations, and immerse yourself in stories where nothing is ever what it seems. The courtroom was heavy with tension, every eye fixed on the man who once swore loyalty, now unmasked as a master of deceit. He smiled confidently, certain that cunning and charm could rewrite the rules of trust, that a lifetime of shared memories and promises could be swept aside with a few forged signatures and empty words. But the air smelled of secrets long buried, whispers that had festered behind closed doors, and the truth that refused to stay hidden. Every carefully constructed lie was unraveling, thread by thread, under the unforgiving gaze of the law. Documents, once dismissed as insignificant, suddenly carried the weight of betrayal. Letters, bank statements, and hidden contracts revealed an obsession with wealth rather than love. The scheme was bold, but the arrogance blinded him to the patience that had been quietly building, the awareness of every late-night phone call, every suspicious withdrawal, every small betrayal that had piled up into an undeniable pattern. Every smirk he offered in court only tightened the grip of reality, as the evidence painted him not as a devoted partner, but as a calculating opportunist who underestimated the depth of the stakes. The witnesses, carefully chosen and strategically prepared, spoke with subtle force, exposing the cracks in a carefully maintained façade. Longtime friends and associates who once trusted his charm now revealed his manipulations, his eagerness to exploit moments of vulnerability, and the hidden contempt behind his promises. Tension rippled through the room as each revelation landed like a hammer, shattering the illusion of loyalty and affection. There was no room left for denial. The fortune he sought, a symbol of shared dreams, became a battlefield, and his confidence began to crumble under the weight of truth. As the judge's gavel hovered, the courtroom seemed to hold its breath. The man who believed he could claim half of a lifetime's work faced the full measure of consequences, every detail of greed and deception laid bare for all to see. The silence that followed spoke louder than any argument. In the end, the verdict was not just justice, it was a reckoning. The walls that once echoed with laughter and promises of forever were crumbling, revealing cracks that had been carefully plastered over for years. Every smile in family photos, every public show of loyalty now felt like a mask, hiding motives that no one had suspected. Conversations that seemed innocent carried hidden meanings, and glances exchanged in private rooms hinted at alliances and resentments that had simmered in silence. The house, once a sanctuary, became a stage where every secret long buried threatened to explode into the open. Whispers of betrayal surfaced like shadows in corners, twisting familiar memories into something unrecognizable. The husband, who had played the role of protector and partner, was now unmasked as someone whose ambitions ran far deeper than affection or devotion. The truth of his greed and manipulation emerged slowly but painfully, each revelation sharper than the last. Friends and distant relatives, once trusted confidants, revealed truths that cut to the bone. Hidden accounts, secret deals, and words said behind closed doors that revealed how far he had been willing to go to claim what wasn't his. The raw emotions were impossible to contain. Hurt and disbelief collided with rage, leaving no room for pretense. Every confrontation, every heated exchange pulled the layers of deception from the family, exposing fractures that had been ignored for too long. Old wounds reopened as the reality of betrayal settled like a stone in the chest. What had been considered love and loyalty turned out to be a carefully constructed web designed to manipulate and control, with consequences that rippled through every relationship in the household. Even those who had remained silent were forced to take sides, and the bonds once thought unbreakable were tested in ways no one could have predicted. The quiet strength of patience met the cunning of greed, and as the truth unfolded, the husband's confidence faltered. Every secret, every hidden agenda became a weapon turned against him, exposing the depth of his deceit and the fragility of the world he had tried to dominate. By the time the final truths were revealed, nothing could restore the illusion of unity. The courtroom held its breath as the truth unfolded, and the man who had once wielded confidence like armor began to falter. Every scheme, every whispered plan to claim what wasn't his, collided with a twist he hadn't anticipated. Documents carefully hidden for months surfaced at the perfect moment, evidence that turned assumptions upside down and exposed the depth of his deceit. The air was electric, charged with anticipation, as witnesses spoke with subtle precision, each revelation chipping away at the fortress of arrogance he had built around himself. The clever maneuver that had been quietly prepared was more than strategy. It was a reckoning. Every fraudulent transaction, every attempt to manipulate family loyalties was laid bare, and the crowd could see the shock on his face as his power slipped away. It was a lesson in patience and perception, in how knowing the truth and waiting for the right moment could transform vulnerability into strength. Nothing was wasted, no detail overlooked. The twist of fate wasn't luck. It was a calculated revelation of justice that even he could not deny. As each hidden motive came to light, the raw emotions that had been simmering beneath the surface finally erupted. Friends, relatives, and legal authorities witnessed not only the fall of a man consumed by greed, but also the quiet, unyielding force of those who had been wronged. Every smirk, every attempt at charm crumbled under the weight of facts, leaving him exposed in front of everyone who had once trusted him. Secrets he thought were buried forever became the instruments of his undoing, and the satisfaction in the room was almost tangible, a collective recognition of cunning meeting its match. The courtroom was no longer just a place of law. It became a theater of revelation where deception met consequence and arrogance met humility. Each move, each carefully timed disclosure delivered blows that could not be ignored or undone. The man who had believed in his invincibility now faced the unexpected, undeniable verdict of truth and justice. When the gavel finally fell, the silence that followed spoke louder than any words. The room was tense with anticipation as every carefully concealed secret came tumbling into the open. Lies that had been whispered behind closed doors for years now echoed with sharp clarity, and the carefully crafted masks of loyalty and affection shattered under scrutiny. Every hidden agenda, every subtle manipulation became visible, exposing the depth of deception that had been disguised as love. The husband who had once believed in his unchallenged control now faced a confrontation he could neither charm nor manipulate his way out of. Friends and family, long held in the dark, watched as the truth emerged piece by piece. Texts, letters, and financial records revealed motives driven by greed rather than care. Actions disguised as concern now laid bare as calculated moves to claim what was never rightfully his. The impact of each revelation left him visibly shaken, his confidence crumbling as the weight of exposure pressed down. No ally, no fabricated excuse could salvage the image he had so meticulously constructed. The patience that had guided the quiet preparation finally bore fruit. Every move, every carefully staged encounter was part of a strategy designed to reveal the full spectrum of his betrayal. The twists, subtle but precise, left no room for denial. Every attempt at gaslighting or deflection was met with the hard, unassailable truth, leaving him speechless in front of the very people he had sought to manipulate. Anger, disbelief, and shame mingled in the air as the consequences of long-hidden treachery unfolded, leaving everyone who had witnessed the facade of loyalty stunned by the reality. The climax of the confrontation was almost theatrical, as each revelation landed with impact, the calculated patience behind the exposure evident in every pointed question, every carefully timed disclosure. He realized, too late, that strategy and timing had turned the tables, that deception could not withstand the precision of long-awaited justice. The room, filled with witnesses who had once trusted him implicitly, now watched as the intricate web he had woven ensnared him completely, leaving no escape from accountability. In the end, the full measure of truth spoke louder than any argument ever could. Thank you for watching this jaw-dropping story of secrets, betrayal, and the clever twists that expose the truth. If every shocking revelation and twist kept you on the edge of your seat, make sure to like this video, share it with someone who loves drama, and subscribe to the channel for more stories that uncover hidden motives and raw emotions. Don't miss the next tale where trust is shattered, revenge is served, and every twist leaves everyone speechless. Hit that notification bell so you're first to see the next unforgettable story.